Morning. This is Jonathan Shatke again. And the topic today is government science and why it fails. So, we've seen it. The fraud, the politically motivated crap, the stupid things that are obviously, nobody really wants to know. Nobody needs to know what happens to squirrels when you give them cocaine. Things like that. Well, why? Why do these things happen? Well, because government science is political in nature from the get-go. It is rent-seeking in the in economic terms. Every social remote.
No.
Okay. Every social science is, of course,
Power on.
okay. Social sciences, of course, are all able to be manipulated by the researcher in something called p-searching, where you search for a statistically significant correlation. If you collect enough data, one of them is going to randomly be statistically significant. But what about hard sciences? What happens to them? Well, when you do hard science on a government budget, first, you're not looking to do it as deeply as possible and as effectively as possible to answer the question. And secondly, you're looking to do as little as possible in a government grant to make that government grant successful and show that you need the next step. Okay? So it's very tiny increment science and nothing that is ever way out there, unless you've got a wartime situation in which just crazy ideas are being floated and money is being spent like nothing, like the Manhattan Project. And even then, you're doing things wrong. Okay. Somebody who was doing the Manhattan Project from a standpoint of making cost-effective bomb, an atom bomb, as cheaply as possible, wouldn't have done all the side work. They would have either said, "Can we get plutonium? What things are fissile, and how much of them do we need, and how difficult are they to get?" And they would have analyzed those questions. And if one of them was a technical risk, like plutonium production before they had made the first atomic pile, it was a technical risk. After they made the first atomic pile, they knew that they could make a device with uranium. So they should have just, spend their money on making a uranium enrichment facility and enriching enough uranium as quickly as possible to to make an atomic bomb. And they wouldn't have had two different methods of making a bomb. After that, then they could have worked on the other method of plutonium production. And they would have had plenty of spent fuel to process for that. Well, no, they wouldn't have. They wouldn't have even started any nuclear reactor in that scenario. Hanford would never have happened. Um, so even in the best examples, you get these things. The ITER is a great example of government research and development. Initially, they said we'll get it done by 2000 in the 90s. Then the deadline kept slipping and slipping and slipping, and they kept doing these incremental things. Well, what are we going to do for first wall? Well, we know how to cool a metal wall. We've been doing it for decades, and we can cool a metal wall against heat fluxes of gigawatts. That's what they did in the Saturn V. That's like a five gigawatt motor, and using liquid hydrogen, they were able to cool it for quite a long time, which would have been long enough to demonstrate fusion. But they've got now 20 or 30 grants out about first wall. Now then they have 20 or 30 grants about how to inject a neutron into this thing, or do injection of ions. It's all and they aren't building stuff. They aren't just saying, okay, let's take the Princeton tokamak that broke even Q equals 1 and technically generated as much heat as out of fusion as we put in to the plasma, and let's just build that bigger so that we'll see what happens. Make it work, which was the original plan. And then demo was going to be even bigger and go commercial. But so you've got climate science, which has been so politicized that you get captured by a small cabal of government scientists on the science aspects, and they start literally controlling the narrative about what is valid science. And because they have this big pool of money in the government to spend, a lot of scientists will fall in line in order to have access to that big pool of money. It takes a rare scientist to not sell out. And the same thing with vaccines and the climate science, the science on sociology. All of these things are so corrupted by government that we no longer have accurate portrayal of what the science is. And that's a real problem for someone who's a scientist. In engineering science, thankfully, engineers are hard bitten about it. It does work when we use it. And so a lot of the political stuff can't penetrate, because if it doesn't work, it doesn't matter how politically correct it is. An engineer is going to say, I can't use it. I went designed according to your political science, and I got and it broke. So, I don't care that you're a gay scientist. It doesn't matter. It's broken. Your science is broken. So engineers are a lot immune, but people are calling themselves engineers who aren't immune. Computer science. There's a lot.
No, come
Okay.
here.
Kenneth,
Stand up. Stand up.
I'm still
Stand up.
ranting about how government science is bad, Kenneth. All right. Well, I think I've made my point, and it looks like it took you guys about 10 minutes to get on here. Let me know your thoughts, comments, subscribe to the channel, and share this around if you think I'm giving some clarity to something that's causing issues. Have a nice day.